What's up? Welcome to my next how to draw pose tutorial, and this time I'm going to be showing a different take on drawing poses where I'm taking a bean shape and I'm kind of taking it, cutting it in half and splitting it in the middle. And also, if you want to know the type of materials I use for my videos and the camera I use and whatnot, you can check that out in the description below. I have links to all those, and also the software that I'm using or the website that I'm going to for my poses, Figurosity. You can check that out in the link below also. Now for this pose, which I pulled from Figurosity, I am using the bean shape, but when you look at it now, you see I sliced it in the middle, and in the way it's kind of both sides are even. Like you got the chest is even and you get the waist is even, but you can kind of figure that out as you go along when you add in all the anatomy and curve lines and everything. And so right now I'm adding in the circles for the shoulders, and when you add those circles in, that kind of, I guess it kind of solidifies the pose as far as how the arms are going to go. And right now I'm putting in the legs, and to me I feel that if I put the shoulders in, I can easily figure out how the rest of the pose is going to go, because the shoulders are usually the hardest ones to put down. That's why I kind of get those in first sometimes, and then I can kind of easily figure out the rest of the pose. And I get the feet in, and for the feet, you can just draw like a triangle shape. You don't have to really get too detailed into it. Now for this next pose, I'm gonna start the same way, where I'm gonna create the bean, but I'm slicing it in half. And I chose this particular pose on purpose because it has a little bit of foreshortening in it, and so I'm trying to, right now I'm finding where it is. It's kind of, I tilted the bean forward, and it's kind of a way, it's kind of an easier way to figure it out, because now since I'm breaking the bean shape apart, I can kind of tilt the top part, and then the lower part I can tilt a different way, and that will make it easier for your body to see the pose being tilted. Because sometimes you'll make the pose and the pose won't look, it'll look tilted to you, but then it won't really look tilted. So it's kind of a way of making your eyes see it in a kind of a tilted way per se. So right now I'm adding the legs in, and usually when you add the legs in perspective, you can kind of just have it big at the top and then get smaller as it goes out. And it's easier to do it with cylinders. Sometimes I'll do it with cylinders, sometimes I'll round the shape out. I also took one of the poses that I chose from these, and then I chose one of them to just add a little more detail to it, which is what you'll see at the end of the video. And also, don't forget to drop a like, comment also if you want to see a different video, or if there's a particular video you want to see on how to draw hands or anything, just let me know. Now for this one, I chose a standing pose, or at least, the Figurosity chose a standing pose, because I have it set for a pose, quick pose. So it's like a timer on it. And for this one, that little triangle art shape that you see, it's another way of finding out where the neck is, because on the front of your chest it comes down in the I guess in the middle where it makes that V shape. And that's another way of figuring out where to have the body twist also, is when you add that V shape in there, which you'll probably see in a few other poses, whether it's this video or the next video. You'll see me use that a lot, and it's kind of an easier way of figuring out where to twist the chest and in relation to the abs and everything else. Now I'm adding in the head, and another easy way of doing the head is let's make the circle. And when I make the circle, I always just add like a box in the front where the face is, and it makes it easier. So when I place the ink on top of it, it's easier to figure out where the face is going to go. That's a little bit why I like to work with the blue pencil, because sometimes I like to go back on these over with ink and ink out the details. So I like to go over a blue pencil. Plus I don't like it, I don't want it to smear or anything, because regular pencil will smear and then you erase it and it smears everything. And with the blue pencil I can kind of just get right into it without it smearing on my hand. Now with this one, it's like a punching forward pose, and what I did with this one, I tilted it the top forward, and you see me make the V shape on the chest, where that chest is, and I put a line right in the middle of the V as I'm going down, because that V shape indicates where the chest line is, and I can easily figure out how to keep that forward, and I can bring that line, whether the waist is twisting a different way or another way, I can have that line. That line is basically where how my twist is going to be. So right now I'm adding the neck in and the shoulders. You can see I'm adding the leg. I put like a circle for the top, and then I start forming that leg in. And this is usually what I do on a daily basis to practice. I practice this every day, just a sketchbook just full of these. Nothing too fancy, but this is what helps you to draw. This is what helps you to draw better. If you're trying to be better at drawing, this is what they do. You have to sacrifice 10 to 15 sketchbooks doing these, and normally for me these are kind of like a warm-up. Start with these so that by the time I work on the actual piece, it's easier to get what I want out of my head down on paper, because my hands are warmed up. It's kind of like if you're going to the gym, you warm up the muscles. Same thing with the hands. You gotta warm your hands up, do a few poses, and then start with the final piece, which is the actual thing. When I'm getting the back area. Now for this one, he's going up a little bit. So when I did the bean shape, sometimes I'll think about it for a little bit. I think about, well, where am I going to have the top part of the bean angling at? So with this one, I tilted it up, tilted the bottom part down, and you can have it tilted anyway. And I mean, as long as once you're doing the pose, you can easily fix it up as you go along. So now that line, I'm having it curve in the little curve arch shape, and I have that triangle up top where the chest is, indicate where the chest is going to be. So now that you have that triangle up top, you know where how the chest is going to end up. So now I have the legs in. I don't have to worry about the chest right now because I already know what's going to happen. I'm adding the legs in there, and then getting the other leg in. Sometimes I'll add circles for the knees, and sometimes I won't, depending on how the leg is twisting. Sometimes I add different shapes on the body just to figure out where the body is going. If the body is going a certain way that I'm trying to figure out, I'll add a circle in there, or I'll add whatever shapes I can to figure out how to get that pose exactly the way it looks. Now I'm working the curves for the top part. And sometimes you can make the head, you can do the head first, or you can do the head last. It doesn't really make a difference, especially when you're sketching it out, because you can easily fix the size of the head as you go along. And depending on the pose, sometimes I'll have a difficult pose to where I have to draw the body first and then get to the head last, because I can easily just fix it at the end. That's why you shouldn't get too detailed with the pose, because you don't want to get so detailed with it, and then at the end you have to end up erasing the whole thing and then starting all over, when it's better to just start over when there's less to do. So right now I'm figuring out the distance between the hands, and I'm getting that arm in, because the arm is pretty close to his head. Getting a line in for the head, so I know how the head is tilted, because the head is tilted not all the way down, but just a little bit, and then tilted to the side a bit. I'm getting the curves in. focusing too much. I'm not getting too crazy with it. Now I chose the top pose as the one I'm going to start adding a little bit more in there. And right now I'm just adding in curves, just to finish off the pose just a little bit, not too much, but just enough. And sometimes I'll pick one pose and I'll just start curving things in there, just so your hand can kind of loosen up a little bit. I'm just putting in, not too detailed with the muscles, but just enough to fully flesh out the pose. All right, thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more videos like this or more tutorials, let me know in the comments. And also, don't forget to hit that like button, and take care.